I'm going to take you to the Wayback Machine on January 12th. I presented our budget to the school committee. I think I also presented it that same week or the week prior to that at the joint meeting, town council, school committee meeting. And the budget I presented represented a very healthy, I get it, very healthy increase year over year, 7.7% year over year. 20 additional personnel. And I was very open and transparent at the time. I fully recognized at the time that this was not a budget that the town could afford. I felt it was incumbent to say, like, what are our actual needs? If we had the resource, what are your actual needs? And is it sustainable? And is it fair and equitable to students and staff and what have you? So knowing full well that we can afford this, I think it was important to present this full needs-based budget. I have this saying, you've probably heard me say it, but just because a need goes unfunded doesn't mean the need has gone away. What's changed since then is that the town manager's been working with all of his departments and you all to develop kind of a realistic budget proposal. And we're actually really happy that Mike, when he presented to the town council a couple weeks ago, was able to present a 4% increase for the school department budget year over year. And I point this out because I don't want this to go unnoticed, but we have this kind of unusual situation here in North Attleboro where we have a separate appropriation for transportation. I don't know when that started or why, but it's separate. And then a small budget for crossing guards. Again, I don't know why. But those are fully funded, right? So the budget that town manager presented adequately meet our needs, right? And that's good news, right? I mean, that's really good news. So I didn't want to ignore that. One thing I did is I spent time, and I'll talk about this in a moment, just calculating, okay, what's the minimum that we need next year to open the doors and make sure that we're sustaining ourselves? We needed, really to open the doors, I would say, this amount here, almost 2 million. The town manager's recommendation is right below it, and then, so what this says is that it gives us about $169,000 to do anything else, right? And that's it's not enough to do really anything that we really want. At least we weren't able to tackle any of our highest priorities, just that simply. That minimum feasible budget, all that number allowed us to do is meet our current salary obligations, right? Collective bargaining agreements and such. We have these, again, I would call them fixed, even though they're not officially fixed costs by accounting rules. But that minimum feasible budget did incorporate an additional $425,000 in known special education out-of-district tuition costs. The resulting budget that I presented to school committee last month, almost $5 million. It's a 4.22% increase over FY26. As of today, it's still over the town manager's recommendation by about 0.22%, which is about $114,000. We know that we might need to shrink this, and I'm talking to Mike about any possibility for narrowing that gap. But I feel really good about this budget, I will say. And this is where I think we all need to pat ourselves on the back. The state is struggling. Prop 2.5 has caught up to us in Massachusetts. Health insurance has caught up to us. I'd say transportation has caught up to us. Special ed has gone up to us. The model's broken. So for us to be sitting here talking about any amount of growth and improvement, I think is incredible. Love it to be more. I know the school committee would love it to be more, but we worked really hard to make some tough trade-offs up here to be able to fund some really critical priorities for students. I mean, these are about as critical as it gets, in my opinion. So we're in decent shape.